Just very quickly, authorities are seemingly speaking to the media outside court.
There are many questions to be asked, but I did say, can I just reserve my comments?
Are you back suggesting that he...
No, I'm not.
You're not suggesting.
I said, can I just...
Does he fear for his life?
Can I just reserve my comments? I think Advocate Bella, like we discussed earlier, he will conduct the interview with you guys. I also need to go down and consult Mr. Bester before he's ferried away.
Before you leave, does he fear for his life? Last comment from you.
We said there are safety concerns. Yes.
Safety concerns.
Thank you.
Let me bring in Advocate Bella.
Well, as you can hear, this is the legal representative, Masego, representing Thabo Bester here in court. Just giving us an update. Of course, he has raised several concerns around the safeties of issue here in court. But let's listen into this.
We work on a daily basis with Mr. Kapidi, but on this case, Mr. Kapidi is the one that consulted with the client, is the one that took the instructions. So the questions that I'm going to respond to is the questions relating to the issues of law that were raised in the courtroom. But regarding the interview with Mr. Bester, Mr. Kapidi is the one that did the interview. He even went down now to the court cells. So the questions that I may respond to are the ones relating to the arguments that were presented before court as the legal expert.
Would you be making an application to remove him from Manqoba prison? Why not that application and bringing an application about food instead?
Mr. Kapidi reserved that comment, so I wouldn't like to go to that territory that he already requested not to respond to. But as for the proceedings, the media and the people of South Africa have heard that the matter has been postponed to the 16th of May 2023 for further investigations. And Mr. Kapidi was earlier saying, can the case date be brought closer so that the matter can be finalized speedily? As you know, that it is the right of every accused person to have a speedily and fair trial. But the court, together with the state, did indicate that it's not going to be an easy matter. The investigation is still going to be done. And there is also a letter from a director of public prosecution indicating that this matter is going to be here at the High Court.
Advocate Pile, have you addressed correctional services on these concerns?
How do you?
Have you addressed or have you raised these issues with correctional services?
No. Mr. Kapidi is going to take care of that. Like I said, I'm only going to outline the legal issues that were indicated in the court. But the personal circumstances relating to Mr. Bester, Mr. Kapidi is dealing with that. And like he indicated to you earlier, he's not prepared to give any comment until such time that he takes further instructions, as he went down the court cells now to take further instructions. So the circumstances regarding Mr. Bester, I won't comment, but I can comment about the processes that took place inside the court.
What is the rationale behind seeking the documents relating to extradition?
Any accused person is entitled to get information that is going to be used against him when you go to trial. That's why when we talk about the discovery of the court file, which is the docket, before you proceed with the trial, you must be finished with each and every information that is relevant and that is going to be used against the accused. Hence,
we're not at pre-trial stage.
Yes, we are not at the trial stage. However, that is what Mr. Kapidi was trying to address with the court. And that matter has now been dismissed, so I don't think it's the main issue now, because the court didn't entertain it, saying it doesn't have a local standard to entertain such.
So what steps will you take next?
Documents that you want? Do you not trust that the police will give you all the documents that you want as required by the law?
No, every accused employee is entitled to the documents. I think Mr. Kapidi is outlining everything with Mr. Thabo Bester as they are.
Why are you asking for those documents now when you can get them at a later stage?
No, Mr. Kapidi was asking for them now as the instruction of the client. However, if those documents are going to be used during the trial, they will be discovered once the investigation is complete. Mr. Kapidi was only conveying the request of the client. And like you said, the court didn't entertain that because this matter is going to go to High Court. The investigations will have to be completed. Once completed, the legal team will be finished with the particulars.
What's your client's logic behind having you or wanting Thabo Bester to appear here sooner than a month's time? We've heard from the state that this investigation is going to take longer than a month. Why do you want to come here sooner than that?
Like I said earlier, Mr. Kapidi brought that as the request of Mr. Bester. And as Mr. Kapidi have indicated in the court, it was around the safety measures, including food, and then that at the end of the day, when you media were interviewing him, he said he's reserving the comment. So for now, I will say that matter is neither here nor there, because the court made a ruling that they cannot give institution an instruction.
So what's
what
the
to
next
do.
step? Do you plan to raise this with correctional services, because this court has basically not has failed to entertain it?
The matter has been remanded until 16 May for further investigations.
Yeah.
I think it will only be fair to hear on the 16th of May what has been covered, what is still outstanding, and the way forward. Remember, the state will also bring the application on the 16th of May regarding their next step. And I don't want to comment on behalf of the state. I'm not from the state
So would
institution.
you say that you have placed the cart before the horse, given that you yourself admit that all the documents will be gotten at pre-trial stage?
I wouldn't say Mr. Kapidi did that. Mr. Kapidi, remember, every lawyer is working on the instructions of the client. And if you don't convey the instructions of the client, who are you representing? Because you must take the instructions of the client and place them before the magistrate. That's why at some point, Mr. Kapidi wanted to allow the accused, Mr. Thabo Bester, to engage the court himself directly, of which the magistrate ruled out
Do you think
and
that's
declined.
a wise move as the defense? Do you think it's a wise move to allow your client to address the court?
The thing is, it's not whether it's a wise move or not. The question is it allowed in law? That should be the question. Yes, it is allowed in law. Because sometimes if you don't convey what is the client's instructions, the client will terminate you and go to someone that will properly represent him. And you will be not properly representing the client when you place on record what is not the instructions from the client.
But as a defense...
Well, okay, as you can hear, Masigo, that is the legal representative of Thabo Bester, of course, who appeared here just a short while ago here at the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. And of course, the first time that we really got a glimpse of the fugitive who, of course, was captured over the weekend, being brought to South Africa yesterday in the early hours of the morning. He did appear here in court, looking attentively, and following proceedings as they were continuing here in court. And of course, at some point, he also wanted to address this court, but his lawyers, of course, at the time had indicated to the court that he wishes to address the court. The matter was brought up to the magistrate, who did indicate that it will be rather the legal representative that will make the talking on behalf of Thabo Bester. And this is where he raised some of those issues, the concerns around the safety, saying that the mere fact that he's been brought back to the very correctional services center where this incident or the escape had occurred is a matter of grave safety for him, because he says that even up until now he has not eaten any food due to the fact that he fears for his safety there in that particular correctional center, which is Manqoba Correctional Center. And so he says that he wished perhaps to be moved from that center, but of course the state at this particular point saying that this is not a matter for this court to entertain. If there were any other issues related to the safety of Thabo Bester at that particular facility, those issues should be addressed by the Correctional Services Department, because as a convicted inmate, it's now the responsibility of Correctional Services to entertain any issues that Thabo Bester will raise, but also another issue that he has also raised is pertaining the documents bringing him here to South Africa, because he maintains that he did not have an ID, or he does not have an ID, and he refutes the ID number that is allegedly on one of those documents. And those are just some of the issues that he had raised here in court. And of course, the state not entertaining those issues, saying that it's not for this court to deal with them. It's not for this court to be burdened with those particular issues. The issue of the passport or the ID should have been raised with Home Affairs. In fact, if they have an issue with that, it should be raised with Home Affairs. And in fact, he should have raised it before even leaving that particular country. So we're expecting this case, Masigo, to continue on the 16th of May. And at this particular point, we're hearing that there's a possibility that this matter might be separated from the others.